while ago, I was in a group with some people, and the lady said, we're learning people. That's a very good orientation. It fits for me, that I'm learning all the time. And one of the things that works real well for me is during the week, I get to meet with people who are learning also, and I learn from them, and maybe they learn from me. Hopefully they do. Well, they pay me, so I guess they do. So one of the things I'm learning is how small things, small changes make a big difference for me and for some of my relatives, people, all of you, all of my relatives. For the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois people, they say if you want to change the course of a river, then you go up to the top of the nearest mountain and you move one pebble. And I've been hearing that for years, and part of my rational mind said, that just ain't no way, I ain't gonna live that long. So these are some small things that seem to work pretty well right now. One of them is really simple, although it seems to take a lot of energy to make the movement. And it is a movement. And it's a movement that changes energy. So here's the movement. In our world, in our culture right now, there is a lot of energy for, you should be different, you hurt my feelings, I'm offended, don't be like that, if you're like that, I'll be upset. There's a lot of energy in the world right now, it seems, for us to want other people to be different so we'll be more relaxed or happier. And I used to say that to one of my teachers, an old man a long time ago, and he'd say, yeah, good luck, good luck, good luck. So one of the things that I've been studying a lot the last couple of weeks, because it keeps coming up, is some of us say things like, you hurt my feelings, you run my day, you upset me, my mood was great till you got here. Sometimes we say stuff like that. And in this sort of medicine that I'm sharing with you today, that's sort of a setup. What it means is it sets up situations energetically. And what it sets up, when I say you hurt my feelings, what it sets up is I've immediately put myself in the victim role. Boom. You hurt my feelings. You are the wind, and I am a leaf at the mercy of your wind. So if you say that, my feelings change. You're in charge of my feelings. So as one of my teachers told me, this is an ugly way to live. This creates resentment. This puts us in a victim role. And what we've learned from holistic medicine is fascinating stuff to me, is that when I have certain thoughts, those thoughts change my blood profile. My serotonin, my immune system, my cortisol, my homocysteine, my blood pressure. When I have thoughts of being in a victim role, it lowers my immune system. Literally, my thoughts drop my serotonin. It's a fascinating thing. In this study, we understand it. Some people that feel depressed go get a medication called an SSRI, a serotonin uptake inhibitor drug, and it's supposed to keep the serotonin levels high. But what we've discovered, if the thought patterns doesn't change, there's no way you can get enough serotonin in there. If the person keeps saying, I'm a victim, I'm a leaf at the mercy of the wind, there is not a way we can get enough serotonin in there and balance the system. Because they keep deleting the serotonin with that thought. Now, y'all have heard our whole life, my whole life, I've heard that thoughts are powerful and that it's nice, but I've always been looking for how do you apply that? It's like somebody tells me, well, just forgive. Well, tell me how to do that. So finally, learning, I understand that in order to forgive, it's important for me to quit saying, you hurt me, I'm hurt and it's your fault. In order for me to forgive, I have to quit judgment. I have to quit saying you're wrong and I'm right, which is this. So we understand that the opposite of forgiveness is continued judgment. Another interesting thing that we've learned in the office is that when people are very critical of other people, that seems to be a mirror of how self-critical they are. That those two seem to be even. Yin and yang, east and west. You can't have more east than you have west. They have to be equal. One interesting thing seems to be the amount that my thoughts judge other people is exactly equal to the amount my mind judges me. So one of my granddaughters a long time ago told me that, Papa, I learned we're not supposed to judge other people. And my comment was, maybe not judging yourself would work too. And she got real quiet. And she said, I don't understand. I said, well, if you're not judging other people and you think that's a pretty good idea to get along with people, how about self-judgment, where your mind judges you? She said, well, Papa, I need that. I need somebody picking on me to tell me what's wrong with me so I can be better. She's old enough now, she's learned that that's not true. So one of the things we're learning is that we can make this change of saying, you hurt my feelings, to I react to you. Those are really different things. You ruin my day. Oh, poor me. I'm a leaf at the mercy of your wind. Or I react to you. And I'm responsible for my reaction. So sometimes people don't like this idea. Some people would like other people to be responsible for how they feel. So sometimes this doesn't go over very well. In marital situations where a couple come in to talk about their relationship, it's one of the very first things that we find, that one or both of the people are blaming the other people for how they feel, for their emotions. Like you're in charge of my emotions. And what we discovered over time is if I gave somebody responsibility for my emotions, I will begin to feel resentful. That will create another emotion. Because being a leaf at the mercy of the wind is not a good position. So one of the simple changes that we explore in the office with people is shifting our belief system just a little bit from you ruin my day to I react to you. Those are two different things. One is a victim role. You hurt my feelings. One is a role of being responsible for my thoughts, my emotions, my behavior. So these are two different positions. They're taken with a very small move. The small move is you hurt my feelings to I react to you, and I'm responsible for my reactions. I don't know if this is true for a lot of you, it's true for me. I really don't like being upset. I really prefer being calm and peaceful and happy and relaxed. And my body does too. My body has told me in a variety of ways it does not like me to be upset. And as I get older, those messages get a little stronger. I'm not sure how that works. It seems like if I'm figuring this out, I ought to quit, but it works the other way. So one of the things that's important for me is to not be a spiritual person or a good person or whatever. For me is I like to be calm and peaceful and happy. I don't like upset. My body doesn't like it, my mind doesn't like it, my serotonin drops. Just it's not a good thing for me. And I'm pretty average. So this small change of moving from you hurt my feelings into I react to you helps me move into a different energy. The energy of the victim is a particular energy. The energy of being responsible is a different energy. And I can do that by changing the way I view the world. Now the difficulty with this is, it's so easy, for me anyway, I don't know about you all, to pull out of the parking lot, have somebody pull in front of me so I have to slam on my brakes, and my next thought is not kind and loving or peaceful. My next behavior is more like that. So everybody seems to understand that message. It's not a loving message. So what is working out for me is, because I prayed for this, if you can believe this, I prayed for this, for Spirit to show me how easy it is for me to move into judgment, blame, criticism, and self-pity. I've been astounded how easy it is for me to move from calm, peaceful, loving. Somebody pulls in front of me, I have to hit the brakes. In the next heartbeat, I'm like the Hulk, I want to rip off this crazy stuff, and I do that. Now, I do understand that's my training. In my family of origin, that was normal behavior. To be very reactive, to be very loud, to be upset. And I grew up with that, until I left home at 17. That was my programming. However, I'm aware of that now. I'm aware that I have a choice if I stay awake. That when the guy pulls in front of me, my preferred choice is to say, thank you, Spirit. You sent that guy to help me learn this thing again and again and again. How often I can move from this alpha brainwave into this beta, and that I do that almost automatically. So part of what I'm working on learning, well, it's not really working on, it's more kind of fun now, to set it up with whatever guides my life, the great mystery, as Lakota people would say, the great mystery to arrange things so I can find how quickly I move into judgment, blame, criticism, self-pity, and the other one is self-importance, right? I'm important, he pulled in front of me, I'm going to be late, so it's okay that I yell at him because I'm so important? Maybe not. So the things that I'm looking for are my judgment, and specifically how quickly my thoughts move into judgment. So it's probably obvious that when I discover how quickly my programming and my training from my family of origin is still in there, how easy it is to want other people to be different, how easy it is to judge other people. Understanding that at the intellectual level is not enough. I wish it was. For years I studied and worked as a psychologist, and I don't do that anymore. I understand now that to understand is not enough. That's not enough. Years ago, I was with my older sister, my Hunka relative. She adopted me as a younger brother. Her name was Jermaine Sitting Crow. She used to love to come here. She said, y'all are like a bunch of Indians. Y'all want to get together and just pray. You don't care who comes. I said, yeah, that's right. That's right. You don't have to be this or that. You can just come and pray. It's cool. So I was with her once in her house in Vermilion at the edge of the Yankton Reservation. And people used to come to her to pray with her. She was known as a holy woman. Wia Washte, Wia Waka, a holy woman. So a lady was talking to her about her family and everything, and about her son-in-law, and how he was just a terrible man. He wasn't any good for her daughter. Anyway, where they got to is his sister told her, said, you act like you don't like him. And he's the father of your grandchildren. And the woman says, well, I know I'm kind of controlling. And sister's nodding. And said, yeah, you kind of are. And then the lady said, but that's just the way I am. And sister said, wait a minute. You're an adult now. Knowing that you're controlling is not enough. Knowing the house needs cleaning, that's not enough. For me personally, knowing how to do yoga, that's not enough. If I don't do it, it's just talk. 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 Mental talk. So, part of the intent now is to know that critical, judgmental thoughts came from my training and my culture. It's not my fault. The other part is to be aware of how much I slip into it without judging myself for judging. Anybody recognize that? You discover something you may want to adjust a little bit, like self-judgment, and then the judge, the voice in the mind, judges me for judging. So there's a way out of that, fortunately. People have been studying this, well, the Buddhist people, Buddha was around 3,000 years ago, and Jesus about 2,000 years ago, and according to indigenous culture about 8,000 years ago, they were beginning to study this, how the mind creates a reality. And one of the things that was discovered, and a guy named Eckhart Tolle writes about this really beautifully, if you all are into this. He writes some really beautiful stuff. I'm reading The Power of Now again, I think for the third or fourth time. And I keep finding stuff that I didn't notice before. And I'm pretty sure it was in the book. I think the problem was my vision. So one of the things he suggests has been very powerful for me for a while, because it makes this change without a lot of drama. So here's the deal, if you want to play around with it. It's a way of quieting the voice in the mind without struggling with the voice in the mind. So here's the deal if you want to do it. It's fairly simple. It's always a here now thing. If you don't move your fingers, see how you can tell that your hands are alive. How can you tell? With any luck, you can feel it. So there's a feeling that tells me I'm alive. The feeling of being alive. Now, if I don't move my toes, how do I know my feet are alive? Well, I can feel it right now. Next move. To feel the feeling of being alive in the hands and the feet at the same time. Here we go. And then the next move is to find the feeling of being alive in the very center of the body, because it's always there all the time. And there it is. So notice what happens to the mind when I'm connected to the feeling of being alive. Just notice. It's a quick shift. And my body is always here. I'm not always here with my body, but my body is always there, in the here and now. So I can move into this physical manifestation, to move into now, the feeling of being alive. And when I hang out to that feeling for a while, then I'm just being. Yeah, there it is. Notice how the energy in the room changes. Yeah. Fascinating stuff. So here's the next level of the game, is to see if I can stay in touch with that feeling of being alive in my body as I go through my day. Chopping vegetables, doing laundry, whatever I'm doing. To have a part of me always in connection with that feeling of being alive. So what occurs to me when I do this is it's quieter up here. I'm more here, more grounded. And I'm more aware of, and I have more choice about my thoughts. Probably you know that the Buddhist people call the voice in the mind a chattering monkey. And they say the mind makes a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. So like the rest of the culture, my mind has been my master for many years. My mind would wander into the future and create what we call anxiety. My mind would wander into the past, like an untrained dog, doesn't stay home and guard the house or the children. When my mind wandered into the past, it usually accompanied by judgment, blame, and criticism. So the next emotion from hanging around the past is guilt and shame, because thoughts create emotion. So when I tell other people, you hurt my feelings, I'm blaming them for creating my emotion. Well, when you're 4 years old, you can get away with that. When a little older, that doesn't work. So this medicine I'm sharing with you is very simple medicine. The application is a little strange. I've discovered over the last month or so that even though I have this idea, obviously from my ego, that I'm pretty good about staying in my body all the time, when I begin to apply this other level of staying connected to the feeling of being alive while I'm doing everything that I do, it adds a different flavor. I'm more here. Life seems deeper and a little juicier. So this is fairly simple stuff, and I'm pretty sure you all know it. It's just, for me, it's very interesting to see how this very small movement of energy, you heard my feelings, I react to you. And the other addition where I can be in touch with my body all the time, which grounds me, quiets my mind, and I believe changes my blood profile. I know it changes my brainwave from beta to alpha. And I know when the brainwave changes from beta to alpha, that there's a corresponding change in blood pressure, cortisol, homocysteine, serotonin, my immune system. So my hope is that this was useful to you all. Yes. It's useful to me. It's sort of like push-ups. I always wish I could do one. I'm strong now. Not really. So my teacher called these spiritual push-ups. And he was pretty good with me. He would say, hey, you're pretty strong. I said, well, thank you, Erwin. He said, you have a lot of push-ups to do. I said, I thought you said I was strong. He said, yeah, so you can do a lot of push-ups. Let's get with it there. Erwin used to play tricks on me. He used to put me in situations where he'd say, oh, look at that clothing that guy's wearing. What do you think of that? I turn around, man, that guy is really, and Erwin's looking at me. That man what? That man what? He would set me up to see how quickly I would move into this position of judgment, of one-up. Y'all know when I'm judging other people, I'm doing a one-up. I'm pumping my ego. And we can get addicted to that. Y'all know that? That when I'm judging other people, thinking they should be different, and I know how they should be different, that's my self-importance. When I think I know how other people should be different, I'm doing a one-up. I'm feeding my ego. My ego separates me from other people. So, anyway, thank you all for this opportunity. Good to be here. Thank you, Zed. Thank you, Rudy. Wuki Mataka. Biggest thank you.
Thank you, Hal. Always good to hear you. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and practice what you just talked about. I invite you to close your eyes, open your legs, put your feet planted on the ground. And I invite you to take a deep breath in. A slow, deep, relaxing breath. And slowly let it out. And once again, slow, relaxing breath in. Slowly let it out. And I want to invite you to shift your attention within. Do your best to close your eyes and ears to the outside world, including my voice. Just let it be sort of in the background. And turn your attention within. Be as still as you can. And get a sense for that feeling that Hal was talking about. Where do you get that sense of the truth of who you are? That feeling of being alive within yourself. Breathe. Relax. Be still. And just be. No matter what happens in your surroundings, no matter what's happening with your physical body outside of yourself, no matter what's happening within your feelings, your emotions, no matter what happens within your mind, your thoughts, just let all that be for just this moment. Keep connecting within yourself. Just take a moment to remain neutral to everything you can experience through your senses. Anything outside of you. And go within. Breathe. Relax. Be still. And just be. And as you breathe, as you relax, as you continue to be still, shift your awareness now to your surroundings, my voice, the sounds in the room. Get a sense for where you're sitting right now. Even with your eyes closed, get a sense for where you are physically. And from this place of awareness, at your own time and pace,